Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm out here at the Joliet, the Autobahn Country Club down here in Joliet, and I'm driving a bunch of BMW electrified vehicles. So the first what we're going to do today is jump to the Chicago Auto Show to do a walk around of the i4, give you more details about it. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time here and it's too loud to really shoot any of that out here, so I'll go and use that footage. Then I'm going to get behind the wheel of the M440 as well as the i4 and really give in detailed test on the road of a street drive, which is actually the better car in my opinion to drive every day. This is the 2022 BMW i4. It features a 81 kilowatt hour battery and peak charging of 200 kilowatts. That means you can go from 10% to 80% in just 31 minutes. It's available in two different engine or motor setups. It is available in a rear motor base model that has 336 horsepower, and then a dual motor, which is this model right here, 536 horsepower out of the dual motor all-wheel drive. Starting price is around $55,000. This model pictured here is $65,900. And I must say, I'm really a fan of the styling right here. If you look at it, it looks very similar to the standard 4 Series, which is a big plus because you have that kind of sleeper technique that it kind of has of just kind of blending in like all other BMWs. It doesn't scream, hey, look at me, I'm an electric car. So you'll see right here, this has the traditional double kidney grille that BMW's been putting in all of their new vehicles. And that's kind of, like I said, that's the highlight right here, is it looks like a normal BMW, and I think that's a big plus. There's no reason to do anything out of the ordinary. It's a good looking car, and they managed to make it electrified with still the great styling. You see the grille's blocked off a little bit right here, but it still has that presence of the double kidney grille. There's the camera right there, 360 camera. Beautiful laser headlights right here too, with a daytime running light right in the middle. And I wish these lights were legal to be unlocked in the US. They're pretty impressive on what they can do. What's interesting about this BMW is it has the styling of a big car because it's based on the 4 Series. However, it doesn't have a frunk. That's kind of surprising to me because there's all this space. Now, it's common for people to always want a frunk in every electric vehicle, and I don't think that's necessary because not every vehicle is styled for one. You know, if the front was so much shorter, you couldn't fit a frunk, there wouldn't be a problem with that. It would still be a good-looking vehicle. But here, with all this space, you'd expect a frunk to be in here. Now we come around to the back of the BMW. Charging happens behind here via AC, and then here's the pins for the DC fast charging. I like these little doors. A lot of other vehicles have those useless covers that you constantly need to pull out and back, and you kind of just want to throw them away. This is very nicely done that you push the DC one, both open, and then you push just the AC one and just that one opens. Very well designed. Then we come around to the back right here. And as you see, this is the M50 high performance model. Very nice daytime running lights. And again, just looks like a 4 Series at the end of the day, which is a good thing. Now we come around to the side profile, and this is where it's kind of a blended car. Rather than just being a 4 Series coupe, it actually has 4 doors. So you get the practicality of a 3 Series with the styling and fastback style of the 4 Series. And here's one of the best parts of the i4 as well. It's, rather than being a traditional trunk, you can still maintain the lift-back styling, which is a lot more practical for filling it up with all of your cargo for a trip. Then when you come down here, huge subwoofer, the Harman Kardon subwoofer for an amazing speaker system. But if you didn't opt for the subwoofer, you'd actually have a decent amount of space down in here. But it's a pretty good boot. Now let's take a look in the back seat. So I have the front seat adjusted for how I would sit. And as you can definitely see, it's a little bit snug back here, but this is one of the benefits of this car is it's a little bit longer than the Polestar or the Model 3. So you do get a little more room back here while still, I have plenty of room up there. So it's compromised, but it's a sports sedan. So, if you need more room, that's what SUVs are for. That's what the iX is for. This seat is all the way back in its tracks. I can't get over here. Headroom, if I sit upright, my head is against the ceiling. And again, I'm 6'3", so headroom is a little bit compromised in the back, but I could tolerate being back here for like, I don't know, a half hour or an hour for a quick little, drive, but I wouldn't want to be back here for an extended period of time. Now we have the cup holders over here. Pretty standard. Nice little flipper right here. Flipper button to open them up. Now let's step into the driver's seat. As you can see, the engineering on this vehicle is magnificent. It is just a very comfortable place to be. I'm in a very comfortable seating position. Everything is within arm reach. I can reach the climate controls just fine. If I don't want to, I have the iDrive controller right here. So very well designed. BMW's new shifter that they're putting in all of their cars, the kind of joystick shifter. And then obviously the two 12-inch touchscreens are huge. This is kind of what a lot of electric vehicles are doing right now. And kind of copying Mercedes was the first to do this, but it's a very functional system with the new BMW iDrive. It's really snappy. All right, so it's time for the street drive portion of this event. So I'm here behind the wheel of the BMW i4 M50, so that's the dual motor variant. Go ahead and start it up. Really cool startup sound, and then as soon as I put it down into drive, when I put it into sport mode, which is here, it really enhances the audio that the car gives off. So this was, as I mentioned earlier, was designed with Hans Zimmer. So a really cool soundtrack. The engineers really took their time to think of something a little bit different than just the standard pedestrian warning on the outside, and then obviously there's a lot pumped in through the speakers to really enhance the driving experience, since one of the very few flaws of electric vehicles is that they're very quiet. That sometimes is a positive, but when you're want a sporty experience, you like to have that audio to go accompany the car. So so I'm driving the i4 first, then I'm going to drive the M440 4 Series. So I'll be able to get a very good back-to-back of how does the i4 compare to its the gas variety from the BMW lineup. And we'll see if the electric actually outperforms it, what the positives and negatives are, and we'll go into as much detail as possible. So we're going to head out here. They have a pre-mapped course for us. Go out onto some state highways, get to open it up a little bit, and really just see how comfortable it is and what the driving is this the ultimate electric driving experience. I have the car in B mode, which enhances the regenerative braking, so that's really nice for here I am just letting my foot off the pedal, and it quite aggressively slows the car down to a complete stop. So I'll show you up here. As soon as we get through this gate, I'll go ahead and let off the pedal and it will stop itself. Just like that. So big thanks to BMW for having us all out here, letting us demo all these cars back to back. So we started off with doing the autocross. Then I was actually able to drive an M850 on the north track or south track. Got to double check which one it was. And that was a lead and follow setup, so I was able to kind of open the car up a little bit while they're coaching us through all the corners. And then now we get to do the test drives. So let's see how this thing does right here. As you can see, the 3.3 seconds to 60 is as advertised. Quite an impressive performance. That was not the pedal to the floor. That was just about 3/4 pedal. Another thing that BMW is known for in their gas cars that certainly follows through in their electric is the pedal mapping is excellent. Exactly as much input as I want to give the car, it has. So sometimes you might notice in other cars where the pedal feels a little bit numb, where you're stepping on it, but you're not getting the power that you think you want, and then as you step on it further, you get a little more power. This is very linear, that as much as I give is as much as I get. A nice heavy steering when I'm in the sport mode as well. It's nice also is they have an individual mode, so I'm able to customize the car as I would like between how I want the throttle to feel, how I want the steering to feel, all those sort of things. I can make my own custom setting that I would want on every time I'm driving. I'm a big fan of the instrument cluster here. I like when it's in, no matter what mode I'm in, it has all the information I need without any more information. So when I put the car in comfort mode, you'll see the information changes here. So if I go back to Sport, it changes like that. Right now I put the car in D mode, so I can actually do the braking myself. Very controversial, subject of whether people like D mode or B mode. Let's go ahead and give it a quick squirt. Excellent performance. So some people like driving in D mode. This is where the car is going to perform just like a normal gas car. My foot is not on the pedal and we're coasting here just as any other car would. Then when I move it over to B mode, it aggressively starts the regen. Because I've driven electric cars for a little over a year now, I've gotten just so used to driving with that constant regen and having to use the brake pedal less. But nonetheless, it's really a personal preference, and it's great to see automakers finally putting that into cars. Let's do another quick acceleration. And we're already speeding. It's impressive. One of the most impressive facts about this car in the dual motor variety is that it gets from 50 to 70 miles per hour in just 2 seconds. So outstanding performance. That's really one of the most impressive features, or important features, I should say, that most car companies don't advertise what their 50 to 70 speed is, but that's your passing speed. That's when you're on a 2-lane road and you want to get around someone quickly and safely. Having that instant acceleration really can help avoid, an oncoming traffic if a car's coming on the other way of a 2-lane road. I'm sure the camera does not pick it up well yet. It looks like it's flickering a little bit, but that's the heads-up display. Again, just like the infotainment, it has really good information, just what I need. It has in this case, it has the forward collision warning and lane keep information in front of me, as well as the speed that I'm doing and the speed limit. So it's nice to, sometimes the heads-up displays have like the radio station and other information that, just is not necessary to be in front of your face at all times. So I'm a big fan of less is more sometimes on some of these displays. So now here's another chance to give it a quick squirt of power. There it is. Tons of neat features with this car, like in ambient lighting. Of course, it's too light right now to see. Nice sunroof right here that actually opens. Most electric cars have the glass roof. This has a sunroof that opens, and also the power sunshade. So really convenient to have, have that flexibility and actually still be able to get that open air experience. That I know the glass roofs are very impressive because they go the entire roof there, and there's no, it gives you that really nice view of the sky. But I like being able to get a little bit of wind in my hair, whatever's left of my hair, I should say, when I can. In here in the charging menu, lots of things we can set. So we can set the charging target, so when the car will stop charging, which in this case it's set to 90%. We can set what the limit on the AC charging is. So if you have lower, you don't want to pop a circuit breaker in your house or something like that because of an electrical setup, you certainly can lower the amperage there. You can set up a departure plan. So for me, if I go to my office at 7:30 every single morning, I can set it so the car is preheated or pre-cooled every day. So that's a great feature that a lot of electric cars have implemented. And then the charge mode, we can have it where it charges immediately or where it waits to charge at a later point. A lot of truck traffic around here. So thankfully there was those little first couple roads, I'm able to open it up a little bit. This is more, what's nice with all this truck traffic actually is this helps me understand how the acoustics is in here, and it's quite excellent, as you would expect a BMW to be. Very minimal outside noise is making its way in here, even as a truck passes right there. I don't know how well the camera can pick that up or not, but just a very comfortable place to be. But I think this car is an excellent option. One thing to point out is it does not qualify for the electric vehicle credit. One is because it's typically going to be over $55,000, but the other part is that it's manufactured in Europe. So that with the new tax credit that just got passed recently in the U.S., in order to qualify for the credit, you need to have the car assembled, or technically it's final assembly in the U.S. So a little bit of a gray area of what defines final assembly. I'm sure a lot more color will come out on that over the next few months since the bill was just signed a few weeks ago. But either way, most luxury cars are not going to qualify for the credit anyway. I guess it kind of levels the playing field that really no luxury vehicle is going to qualify for the credit. And, that's, I don't want to get political in it. So it's that's a whole nother conversation, whether or not there should even be a credit or who should be able to get the credit. But with that said, we'll pretty much wrap it up here for the i4 road drive. I will go take the M440 for a spin. All right, so I just drove the i4. Now it's time to drive the M440. So basically, as similar vehicles as possible. We'll get to drive this around the same exact loop and see which one I think is the better car at the end of the day. All right, let's start it up and see how it sounds. So as I mentioned, when I was driving the i4, I got the opportunity to drive this vehicle around a similar autocross track out in U.S. Cellular Field where the White Sox play. So it was pretty cool to get to drive the i4 today and really see how it handles under a little more dynamic situation. And now here I'm able to drive the M440, which I just rocked it into sport mode for now. I'll do a little bit of mixed driving as I did in the last car with comfort mode and sport mode, be able to test it out. Of course, the feel, this car makes the hair stand on end a little bit just by the engine noise, the rumble. You get a little more feel through a gas car than you do with an electric. So there's certain things that electrics do really well, and then there's things that they really try hard at. But unfortunately, no car is perfect. So that's why it's great that BMW is making both of these, and people are able to choose whatever car fits their needs better. The one thing I'm missing right away is the lack of regenerative braking. That's something I've grown so accustomed to from when I had the Volkswagen ID4. And my next car I'm picking up in Colorado is a Polestar 2. So looking forward to owning that. That should be a pretty solid driving experience. Pricing on these vehicles is actually going to be very, very similar. So the i4 M50 that I drove should come, well, it starts around 57, 58,000 and will quickly run up to about 70,000 as you load on all the options. So, as with any car, once you start checking boxes, you get carried away. And this car starts in at just a fraction cheaper, but I believe the M440 will quickly surpass the i4 once you start checking the boxes there too. One thing I'm noticing initially is the seats in this car are definitely a lot more bolstered. It's definitely a snugger seating position for me in my size. So I prefer the seats in the i4 a little bit more. It is nice having these extended thigh extensions. That's what a lot of BMWs have. Really adds a little bit more thigh support if you are a taller person. A little bit of traffic around here, so I'm going to wait to open it up a little more until we get on a little safer back road a little more. Something I'll try to compare right away is the heads-up display. Just as in the last one, it's flickering because just the way my camera frames per second picks this up. But in the i4, it had a little more detail of having the safety features well highlighted of the lane keep and lane centering, adaptive cruise, all that sort of stuff. So this has a little bit less information up here. I'm not sure if it's customizable. Unfortunately, don't have enough time with each of these vehicles to really get to do deep dives right now. So this car has, of course, the excellent audio of this engine, which I'll open up as soon as I get the chance to. So here I just engaged sport mode, which right away blipped the accelerator because it downshifted immediately to hold us in a higher gear, keep us in the peak power range of this engine. And although you may think, especially with the way the seat is, of being like a tighter seat and the sound of the engine, you would think this is the higher performing vehicle, but actually the i4 M50 pretty much outperforms this car in almost every way. Another thing I'm noticing initially is there's a lot more road noise from like the traffic in front of me that's coming through the windows. So it doesn't feel as insulated as well as the i4. All right, so we're gonna take this stop sign, turn right, and open it up a little bit. It's hard to compete with the sound that this engine gives. It's just that iconic BMW growl. I felt the steering wheel just buzz right there because the cameras thought that the lane was ending, even though it still is. It's because there was old lines that used to be there painted on the road. So I can feel that there's a nice lane centering feature built into this car. So again, if I give it a quick squirt, so you see this still has, once it gets into the right gear, it can accelerate quite quickly from that 50 to 70 window. But because of that delay, you know, and it's a quick shifting car, but that delay of getting into the right gear is where the i4 really surpasses it. That instant acceleration that the i4 pretty much has under any situation, really, I think makes it the better car to own every day. You know, if you're doing constant road trips around the country, well then, you know, this might be the better car. Although the i4 comes with, at the time of filming this, 2 years of unlimited 30-minute fast charges at Electrify America. So that's the, you know, Electrify America, as you may have seen in our other videos, that's really the best charging network right now. And yeah, it's nice to see that BMW throws in 2 years of charging to help incentivize, you know, taking the i4 on a road trip. With the cost of gas right now, especially premium, I don't know that I'd want to take this on a cross-country road trip, that's for sure. All right, I'm going to turn right here at this stop sign, and then we'll try open it up one more time. It's interesting how it has this power meter. So even though this is the you know, gas car, it still has a very similar digital display. And so you see when I step on it, it shows the percentage of power being given to the car. And then when I let off and coasting, it's showing power being recouped. So that's interesting. That I don't know if there's a mild hybrid system or something in this car. I'm not sure. There, it's giving me a warning that I need to stay in my lane, drifting a little too much. So it has the power level in comfort mode, and then as soon as I go to sport mode, it changes it to show the RPMs. So cool that you can get what you want. I wonder if you could make a custom setting to get RPMs listed at all times, because I don't know that I want this percentage of power that I'm using gauge all the time. It's, you know, that's a gauge that's very useful for electric cars, but I don't know how useful it is here for this gas version. Still an excellent, you know, excellent vehicle, you know, as BMW suggests, the ultimate driving machine. You know, very comfortable car to drive, but I think that the i4 is definitely the better option here, especially when you look at the pricing. Just as with the 4 Series, there's a lot of varieties of the i4 now. When I filmed the Chicago Auto Show part, there was only 2 versions. There was the 4 Series, like standard, I think that was called the i440, and then there's the i4 M50. So the M50 gets the dual motors and drops the range to about 250 miles, and the base model gets just a rear motor, so rear wheel drive, and that actually would get 300 miles of rated range. So now they're including a smaller battery rear wheel drive variety. That's going to lower the price point down to, I believe, 51, 52,000, somewhere around there. And that will get 260 miles of range. So the i4 certainly meets a lot of, you know, has a very wide range of pricing. So, you know, hopefully there's an i4 that suits you. And I suggest if you're going out looking to buy a Tesla or looking at buying a Polestar or you know, the Mercedes electrics are on their way, definitely recommend checking out the BMW version, because it really has a nice, engaging experience of, you know, trying to replicate the car experience. There's no goofy screens or anything like that. Like, it's a very similar experience to just driving a normal car, a normal BMW, which is obviously a good thing. Some people really like the extreme side of tech that Tesla gives, and actually kind of the Polestar is kind of going down that road. But it's nice to see that there's a version of an electric car that really just feels, for the most part, like a normal car. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this section, give my final thoughts, and head off to now I'm going to go drive the X5 and the iX to get to test how those all compare. So thank you so much for watching, joining me here at the Autobahn Country Club in Joliet. I'd really appreciate it if you comment down below which you think was the better vehicle. Would you get the i4 all-electric, or would you go and get the M440i gas car? Both are excellent vehicles in my opinion, but I'd love to hear what you think. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Really helps out the video and helps the channel reach more people. And take care till next time.